Hi everybody, it's Tina Plakinger. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's another rainy day. It rained all night. It's still raining, and so you can hear the rain on the tin roofs, okay? So, metal roofs, whatever you call them. Bodybuilding can be very boring. It is, and a lot of people don't do bodybuilding because it is so boring, It's about repetitions, it's about dedication and discipline, okay? So back in the day there was a power lifter, Bev Francis. I just saw a recent interview of her, and she was an Australian world champion, unbeatable power lifter, okay? And she came on board, as I did, at the Caesars World Cup. I think it was 1982, where we were in Las Vegas for the filming of Pumping Iron Part 2 by George Butler. And I won $10,000 that night. I took home $10,000. I came in second. The winner said, I didn't win, but they gave it to me anyway. So, yeah, I was a newcomer on the scene, and they had been filming this movie, Pumping Iron Part 2. George Butler did not like me at all. I sort of put a twist in his movie when I showed up. So anyways, and my very first article that was written by Armin Tanny, who was a 1950 Mr. America, named it, for Muscle and Fitness, Where'd She Come From? Because I blew in on the scene, and I wasn't just, coming in from another sport. I had pretty much cleaned house in the amateur ranks. I had been competing for a couple of years and, accumulating titles like Miss Wisconsin, Miss Central Wisconsin, Miss Mid-America, the Mid-American Pairs with champion Phil Dembski. I won the AAU Miss America and the AAU Mid-American, American Pairs with Phil Dembski. So I cleaned house and got in trouble. They suspended me for a year because I was not AFWB, the American Federation of Women's Bodybuilding. I wasn't involved in that. I was involved in the AAU. And so they were trying to make things right and all that. So anyways, during that year that I was suspended from competing, before I could turn pro and go into the Caesars World Cup Championships and take home 10 grand. And if you see the movie Pumping Iron 2, please know that my sister did my makeup. I look like I'm on an acid trip with my eyeshadow. But she did my makeup, and she had no idea what it was like to do makeup for film. So that's my know-it-all sister. Anyways, that's the story with that. And where was I going with all of this? Anyways, during that time, we all accumulated from somewhere, and if we were anybody, we were all sort of huddled close to the Joe Weider headquarters in Woodland Hills, California. And it was sort of like, back in the day when rock and roll was a thing, and they were all accumulated and living over on Laurel Canyon in California, okay? Crosby, Still, Nash, Young, Don Henley, Linda Ronstadt, there's a whole slew of them. I don't know if Boz Scaggs, if I'm thinking of the right guy. But anyways, they all sort of lived in the same area, and they played music together, and that's how a lot of the really great songs came about. Well, it was like that with bodybuilding in the 80s, and at that time I was living a few blocks, maybe a mile away from the Joe Weider headquarters, and in the apartment complex was also Lee Haney, who was a renowned champion, Mr. Olympia, and his training partner was Rich Gaspari. Okay, well, Lee Haney, we were all training for the Olympia at the time. I think they were both being held at the Madison Square Garden in New York. Well, anyways, Lee Haney taught this shoulder exercise to Rich Gaspari And I recently saw a video on Mr. Showbiz bodybuilder. I will put the link below. Rich Gaspari is demonstrating this exercise, this move. I don't even know what they're called, but when I saw it a couple months ago, I thought, oh, I remember that time. I remember that time, and I remember Lee Haney coming out with this move. And because I'm limited here, I need for you to watch me through the mirror. It's the only way I could set this up. And because I'm limited here, I just have free weights. I have one machine for some cables, okay? But everything pretty much is free weights here. So I figured, you know what, if I gotta do free weights, well then let's do free weights. I'm gonna show you some very cool things as soon as I get a couple more attachments. But that's what I'm gonna have to do is, play it this way. Okay, so anyways, this is the move. And it's not easy. It's not an easy move, but watch me through the mirror. And of course I have my back brace on because a lot of stress is being put there. I know what I was going to say. So Beth Francis was showing up for the Pumping Iron Part 2 filming at the Caesars World Cup. And I recently saw an interview on her. And, when she crossed over from powerlifting into bodybuilding, okay, because she was the only one that we really feared except for symmetry. She had a lot of muscle mass on her. And a lot of people were coming into pro women's bodybuilding at the time from all different sports. Unlike me, I came in from bodybuilding because I had cleaned house in the amateur rank. So that's why I did so well. Okay, so she had said that she had gained, coming in from being unbeatable to this day. She's still an unbeatable world champion powerlifter. She doesn't do it anymore, but from Australia. Okay, she said she had gained so much respect for bodybuilders. Bodybuilding, the sport of bodybuilding, because of the discipline, and it's not just you go over and you do one time and then you sit down and you take 5 minutes to unwrap your elbows or your knees or whatever, you snort some salt or whatever, get some chalk, go back out there, and do it again. It's not like that. It's, repetitions. And it can be boring, and I hope that you found this somewhat entertaining. Thank you so much for joining me on my journey, and I will see you again.